morning and welcome to Onward in Love and Caregiving. It's June 24th, and as you can see from our photos and from our live guests, this is both a special edition and it is a celebration of the last Friday in June, Pride Month 2022. So I welcome you. I'm Greg Johnson. I'm the president and CEO of GJPI International, Greg Johnson Partnerships International. And here in New York, I have the great privilege of serving as the chief advisor to the CEO of Emblem Health for Family Caregiving. And I welcome you all over the world. Here this morning, we are celebrating. We are grateful for the wonderful, wonderful month that we've had. And particularly, we want to, both Martin, who is our special guest, and we're going to introduce him formally, but this is just a moment to say to Jean, happy Pride. This is your first Pride in New York City.
Thank you, Greg. Yes, I'm very happy to be here in New York City celebrating the Pride. So I have my Pride hat and I'm ready to celebrate that one on the road by now. So I think so. Just say thank you to Martin for your time for become our special guest for our broadcast this morning. And nothing can be perfect than you to become our special guest on this program. So I leave it to you guys. Have fun and happy Pride. Okay.
Happy Pride.
Happy
indeed.
Pride,
Thank
Gene.
you,
Good to
Gene.
see
Have
you,
a
brother.
great day.
You look great in the hat.
I love that. That's a surprise. I didn't know we were going to have.
I love the surprise. He's a wonderful man. He's got a beautiful, he just radiates love, doesn't he?
Oh, he certainly does. I feel enormously blessed, not only to have a business partner, but a husband whom I adore. And we've just had our 4th month anniversary. It's hard to believe. So
Yeah.
it's happy.
Congratulations.
Happy.
It's a lot of fun manifesting and creating the world of our life of our dreams, isn't it?
Well, I can't think of a better statement to introduce Martin Cowart. That is wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen of the world, and we are so blessed, Martin. We have people from Australia, New Zealand, Nepal, South Africa, and right on around the world who join us at times that are appropriate to where they are. Some of the world is already asleep. Some of it is just waking up. And that's the gift of this program, which you know, and we are so grateful to you for your program because we have been able to share our programming with you. And so it's so special. But folks, I want you to meet Martin. He's going to be telling us some of his story, but I want to read just a little bit of something that he wrote way, way back when you first began, but I love it. Martin Cowart, CEO and founder of Financial Heartspace, is a spiritual mindset coach, helping LGBTQ entrepreneurs, business leaders, thought leaders, change agents, and influencers unlock their queer heart space superpowers so they can lead with divine authority. Now, I want to tell you, Martin, nothing could make me happier than to introduce someone who can put all that together in one sentence. And you did it. So let me begin by doing exactly what you did to me when I had the privilege some time ago to be on your broadcast. And you said, tell us about Greg. I'm going to say, introduce Martin to us.
Oh, thank you. And first, let me just say what an honor it is to be with you and Jean on this wonderful celebration of Pride this year. And I'm so glad when I met you, he was still in Thailand. Y'all were living separately. And it's just such a joy to see both of you actually physically together and enjoying your life. And this is the world we're manifesting. We're always manifesting, by the way, but when we move into the kingdom of heaven, when we move into that field beyond the mind of unconditional love energy, then we become aware of our queer superpowers, and then we're able to create the world from our hearts of what the world we want to live into, look and feel like.
Absolutely.
And as a spiritual mindset coach, people often say, well, what is a spiritual mindset coach? Well, we are spirit. And it's about shifting the mind to the truth that we're not who we think we are. We think I'm this body named Martin with all this history and all these experiences, all these beliefs. But the reality, where I live and where you live and where everybody lives, is in that field beyond the mind, that field that Jesus called the kingdom of heaven, modern day science called the quantum field. I call it the heart space. We live in the space of the heart and in the room of the heart. And so what I get the privilege of doing is really following the teaching and the life of our teacher, Jesus, to say, here, I am the light of the world, follow me into heart space. And when you do, you get to everything becomes so much more exciting, so much more alive. And we begin to manifest, create the world that we want for ourselves and for the rest of the world to live in. So that's why I call myself a spiritual mindset coach. It's about shifting our mind. We think, and we did most of our lives, I certainly did, living above the neck. We thought our minds were it. And then all of a sudden we wake up and we realize, wait a minute, I'm so much more, I'm not who I thought I was. I thought I was this little guy named Martin who wasn't worth anything. But when I opened my heart and quieted the mind, I realized, wow, there is a whole field of infinite power and unconditional love for us to live and play in our human experience.
I love that. And of course, I can hear Teilhard Chardin, and we've talked about him many times on this
Yes,
program.
I do love that. I'm a big,
We're not human
fan of
beings
his.
trying to have a spiritual experience, but rather spiritual beings having come from and returning to, and you have a lifetime, I always say, to put nouns to that. But we're locked for the moment in time and space. And with this conversation and the work that you're doing, it reminds me so much of something that I have said so often, both on this program, other programs, and when I qualify at AA. And we talk very openly.
Well,
about
we're
that.
both part of that program too, as you know. So
yes, well, I always say I've gone around the world well over 150 times in airplanes, but the longest journey of my life was from here to here.
always the hero's journey, and it takes a lot of courage to let go of the ego thinking rational mind and begin to say yes to the divine. And I love to share a story with you guys about the most recent opportunity for me to say no to that rational mind and say yes to God, that changed my life and put me into the most exciting time in my whole life. And I'm almost 68 years old. I'm a coach. I mean, I have a coaching business and a coaching practice, and I have some fairly high ticket programs, and they weren't getting off the ground like I wanted them to. I go, what's wrong with them? And not quite. I mean, I'm making some money, but they're not really kicking into gear like they should. And then I had an opportunity to meet this wonderful Ugandan gay man who was living in a refugee camp in Kenya, which is absolute hell for a gay person inside a refugee camp, because there's only about 600 of us surrounded by hundreds of thousands of homophobic people who want to kill us. So it's not, and the police don't care because we're gay and we're second-class citizens, so we don't matter. So almost every lesbian that lives there has been raped at least once. And I've had friends who've been caught on fire, had people, my partner Abba almost had his hand cut off. It is hell, okay? So I didn't know all that at the time, but I met Abba, and he was looking, what they do as a leader inside in those camps, if you're someone who kind of rises to a leader, they go out and look for people who might have an open heart to giving them $10, $50, $100 to help them buy sanitary napkins, basic human needs, So he reached out to me and he wanted $50.
Now, let me just interrupt you there. When you say he reached out to you, it was through your program.
Yeah, he saw me doing some teaching programs. He said, I'm gonna go to that teaching program and meet that guy, and I bet I can get $50 from him. That's what they did. It was kind of their strategy for going out and finding people, going in and engaging with them, creating a friendship, and getting someone that might know them. And it was all legitimate because they're trying to survive, you know?
Yeah.
So I said, well, you know what, Abba, I'm not going to give you $50, but I'll give you something I think that might even be better. I'm going to give you a scholarship to my 12-month coaching program. It's a $1,200 a month value. Well, he looked at me like, what? All I want is $50 to feed for some beans, and you're giving me I might not even be alive in 12 months. But
now you had no interplay or interaction.
Very little. I didn't even
the
know
only
whether
reason
there
I'm
was
asking that
there
is
was
for
there
our
was something
audience,
about him, you know.
so that the audience can see how this just came divinely into your life.
Exactly. So he shows up and I offer it to him, and part of the program, he is meeting with he comes and tries to meet with me on his little rinky-dink cell phone. It's not very good, in the middle of a field to get a reception, and I can hardly hear a word he's saying. I'm like, dude, I got to do something to get you some equipment. So I did a special podcast on my birthday last September, and I raised some money to buy him a cell phone and a laptop and some other things that he would need so he could attend my program. Then we had another problem. We couldn't get it to him. So it turned out that it was less expensive and actually more fun for me to fly to Nairobi, stay in a first-class hotel, and have him come over from Nairobi and meet me and stay with me. We got to know each other. So this is when saying no to the rational mind and saying yes takes a lot of courage and faith. Because I was struggling with my business at the time. And I was like, what are you going to Nairobi for? They don't have any money. You need to find rich people here that can buy your program so you can afford this. You can't go to Nairobi. And I said, my head is saying no. It's saying this. My heart is saying, you don't have a choice. Get your butt back. This guy needs your help. So I said yes to God, and I went. And oh my God, I'm gonna get chills. I'm gonna cry telling this story, because when I went there on the very first night I met Abba, it was like I came home. Now I'm the whitest looking guy in the world, no doubt about that. And I'm standing talking to this dark, black Ugandan man, beautiful Ugandan man. But there was something kind of deep within both of us. It just got connected with so much love. It was like going home to an ancient part of myself. And he opened up in me a room in my heart that I did not know existed. It was this deeper chamber of unconditional love. And when I made him aware of it in him, this awareness for both of us, we bonded in this deeper chamber together. And now we would call ourselves Agampe brothers. So, and we also realized we both had a very similar North Star, a very exact mission, and that was to liberate people from the scarcity way of thinking, the scarcity way of living, into a world of abundance and prosperity. And him in particular, he had a vision of finding a real community, a real place in Africa that would be a safe place for queer Africans to live, to work, and thrive and become financially independent beyond the homophobic culture in which keeps them down. And I thought, brother, there's a reason we're here. And I made a promise, and so we became friends. We became agape, but we became more than friends. And as his coach, I said, and not only I'm happy to coach you in this, but I think what I see here is a diamond mine in Africa. I see a diamond mine, but we'll get to that in 1 second, because I saw a diamond in him. But the thing is, right before I was to leave, Gregory, I just one morning at breakfast literally broke down into tears. And Abba looks at me like, what's happening? What's upsetting you? What's going on? I said, Abba, it literally breaks my heart that I'm getting ready to get on a plane tomorrow and fly back to New York to my husband, to our comfortable home. And you're going to get on a bus for 2 days to a place where they're going to try to kill you for the laptop I just gave you. And they tried to kill him 4 times. So but the story does get better. In December, I called Abba and I said, well, Abba, at that time, I said, Abba, I don't know how, but I am going to get you out of that camp. I am going to commit to you right here in front of you, to your heart and to your space. I am going to get, I don't know how, but I'm going to get you out of that camp. And in December, I hired him to be my virtual assistant. I paid him I'm going to pay my old one is leaving. I pay him $180 a week. I'm going to pay you $180 a week. Do you want the job? Well, Greg, I wish you could have seen that man. He transformed into a king in front of my eyes, because for the first time, he realized he was loved, he was valued, and he had a future, and he had a job, and he could make his own money.
Yes.
So what do? We petitioned to the Kenyan government and the United Nations and said, he works for me, he has his own money, I need him in a safe place, and we moved him to Nairobi first of the year. And we're on a mission to use ourselves as a model to get the rest of our LGBTQ brothers and sisters living in that very dangerous camp and very horrible, horrible, inhumane place to live for gay people. I mean, the Kenyan government is doing what they can. I mean, they're not discriminating, but the problem is they're in a place that, because of their environment and because of the homophobic culture, it's very dangerous for us. If you're not gay, it's not all that bad a place to live. It's just because there's no protection for us in that community. So people are, I mean, my friend Shushu, they threw gasoline on him and set him on fire. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just horrible what they do. So yeah. We're on a mission. So what I began to realize, so when I hired him and some others to come and work, be our virtual assistants, and we work together in virtual space, we work together every day from 6:30 to 9 o'clock. And we have accomplished so much in the last 6 months. We've created this brand new program, this new global community that we believe is going to change the way the world works in virtual space. It's going to do two things. It's called the Global LGBTQ Heart Space Community. I say heart space so much I forget how to say it. Yeah. And it's going to be a virtual, because the world's going virtual. I mean, we're here virtual. Yes. We are going virtual. That is the way the world is going to function, make money, and operate going forward. If you don't like it, well, you better get used to it, because that's where we're going. Absolutely. And the problem is this, dear. People don't know how to work in virtual space. It's all transactional. I was just talking to a woman. She used to be a branch manager for a Chase Bank, and she said it was so fun because we were all like a family. We got together. We do what our kids do. It was a relationship, and we were one of the top producing branches in the whole system. Why? Because it came from heart space. They were connected. They were human beings who loved to connect. That is gone away now because of virtual space. We don't have time for all that. We're so busy doing transactions. We don't have time to get to know each other, love each other, and care. Well, that's what we're doing. And in the last 6 months, Abba and I get together every single morning from 6:30 until 9, and my other social sellers, and we this is what we do. We pray. We all take turns getting us into heart space. And this is what it sounds like. Quiet the mind, open the heart, and be still and listen to that divine voice. And let's open our hearts to the heart. Let's move into that inner chamber of the kingdom of heaven that Jesus talked about. That's how we start our work session. That's how we start our day. And you know what? By doing that, by connecting at the heart, we have produced something in the last 6 months that would have taken years.
Oh, I'm certain of it. Years. And I love the fact that his name is Abba.
Isn't that wonderful?
He created a group of fathers.
He is Abba the King. And his spiritual name is Christ the King, because that means the light of the King.
Yes.
Christ was not Jesus's last name. Christ was the light of I am the light of the world. I am the Christ of the world. And it's like, I see the Christ in you and you see the Christ in me, is what that is.
Absolutely.
And the King is the one that loves the entire, the larger universe unconditionally. So he is that light of fatherhood, unconditional love in our community and in my world.
I love it.
Yeah.
As you keep talking, and every time you say Abba, I can hear Jesus saying Abba,
Abba,
Father.
Abba. Well, you know, Jesus, it is so simple and we mess it up so much.
Well, that
First
we've
of
done a
all,
good job at.
First of all, it started with the institutional church. The last thing Jesus wanted was an institution with a set of beliefs that told people who was going to heaven and who was going to hell. And that's exactly what every institutional religion has done.
Now, we're not going to go that route because I'm going to go
We're
back
not
down.
going there, but let me just
But
say
I'm
this.
with you.
Let me just say this. We need to let go of that. And we need to open our hearts and say, that's what we needed to learn. We needed to learn that, but we've learned that lesson. And so now it's time to let that go and say, we don't really need an institution to connect to God. We just need to turn around and look in the mirror.
Precisely.
And look at our eyes and look at ourselves and say, I want in there. You're a beautiful man. You're a beautiful queer man. And I love you. And I want to get to know you better. Looking at the mirror. That's all you need. You don't need an institution. You just need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you first. And I love that divine Christ in you. I see it. And then I want to invite everybody else into this inner room of unconditional love energy.
So continue with your day. You begin by prayer.
So then we go into heart space and then we talk about, well, what are we going to get done today? What miracles are we going to create today? What are we going to manifest? Because we all have a mission. We all state our mission statement. My mission in the world is to create a world of abundance and prosperity by showing up with love and gratitude in the moment, getting, like Eckhart Tolle, get into the now. We all get into the now with whatever that is. For me, it's love and gratitude. So I can get out of the way and allow my divine nature, Joy the Wise Woman, to begin to guide the day. Because that's what's always doing the doing. We think we humans are doing stuff. We're not. We're just either saying yes or no to God. So how are we going to say yes today? How are we going to say yes today? With that North Star of saying, how are we together manifesting this world of love and abundance and prosperity for everyone? And we're creating this community. We're doing this and we're doing that. And the other thing this community is going to do is it's a very low ticket item. And the purpose for that is we want to make it accessible for everyone. And that money, the $97 a month subscription does a number of things. One, it puts you into the coaching community of how to live in heart space, because people often don't know. You know, it's kind of like,
let me interrupt you 1 minute. Go back and preface this project, because I'm certain there are many people that will be interested in it.
So what we have
you create.
Yeah, what we have come up with is a global community, virtual global community called the Global LGBTQ Heart Space Community.
Right.
And it's going to be a subscription for $97 on the Western side.
And that's $97 for
a month, for a 12-month subscription to the community, to join the community. Now, what do you get and why would you want to join it? Okay. Well, first of all, you get into a community and you get to meet and get to know the Africans. That's one wonderful thing. And they'll open your heart to this inner chamber like Abba opened up mine. So you got these African people with this enormous heart. They're much more involved than us Western, by the way, as far as when it comes to enlightenment, brother. I'm telling you right now, if you've never seen the Book of Mormon, go see it, because it's all about exactly what we're talking about. There's a much deeper understanding of that field beyond the mind with the Africans who are living in absolute hell in the outside world than most Americans realize. So that's one of the things you get. You get to really move into this inner chamber of unconditional love so that you can live, dance, and you can create the world of your dreams, really. And so it's really about being able to manifest and create, but you can only manifest and you can only create if you're coming from the heart, if you're living in this inner chamber of creativity. So that's what you get in this community. So if you're trying to build your business, you're trying to build your practice, we're going to be coaching you and teaching you how to live in, how to get in heart space and how to live in heart space. That's one thing. The other thing that happens, and probably the most urgent thing that's going to happen, is that when you join, an African gets a scholarship like Abba did. But the bigger thing is we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers. That would give us $1 million a year. If we can do that, we can buy a piece of property, and we can create a physical community in Africa for our LGBTQ Africans, not just in the camp, but anywhere else in Africa who are living under the oppression of homophobic cultures. We're going to own our own property, our own community, where it's safe for us to live, to work, to raise our families, and to engage in the billion-dollar international e-commerce. And we're building the most elite, the best virtual talent agency out of these diamonds that I see in this mind of Africa in the world. That's what we're doing.
That is utterly brilliant. And I get so thrilled hearing you talk of it, Martin, because I had the privilege of knowing you when you first began the program. And I, first of all, was so impressed that you said financial, because I don't think you don't have to be gay to be scared to death by money. But for those of us in the LGBT world, money scares us to death even more than anything, because we're so used to rejection.
Right.
But going from that into an abundance of living, of spirit-directed living,
yes,
and knowing that the finances will happen when we're not living in slaves to them, but we're living in service. And you've literally, as I listen to this, you've created $1 million out of air.
Well, that's how everything is created, dear.
Well, you're right there. But I mean, what's marvelous about this is you just see it. And it makes such wonderful, it makes sense, and it makes sense.
And it makes no sense.
Yes, of course.
It makes no sense to this thing. You know it's true from your heart.
Precisely.
You know it's from your heart.
No, precisely. Now, Martin, I mean, you and I could chat on forever. I want you to please let people know how they can connect with you, what is the easiest way. Give them your program, the full title.
Well, the title right now, the easiest way to get in touch with me is this, because it is Martin Cowart on Facebook or Martin Cowart on LinkedIn.
And we'll spell it COWART.
That's right.
Martin,
that's the easiest way to get Martin. Because this is the thing I'm manifesting right now. And I thought about this morning. I'm doing this. I'm going to be very transparent. Financially, my personal coffers, I'm doing this right now on fumes. I'm doing it on fumes. I got up this morning, there was a negative number in my bank account. Seriously. But this is the thing. This is what's so important, what I'm learning. I'm learning how to thread the eye of the needle so that I can teach it to others. Does that make any sense to you?
Absolutely.
I am learning. God is, the universe is saying, I'm going to give you just enough, because if I give you too much, you're going to think it's about the money. You got to be the caterpillar and the butterfly. You got to let everything about the caterpillar go so you can create the butterfly.
God bless.
That is emptying. That is metanoia.
Exactly. Exactly. We could go on for a long time right there. Martin, this is unbelievably exciting.
Yes, it is.
And I want people to know, I am going to put up later today your most recent post so that people who come to my Facebook page will see that as well, because that will be another way of making contact, because the gift of the project for the $97 a month is just unbelievably exciting.
It is. Let me just tell you another little story about manifesting and how wild it works up. So I put this thing out there last Friday. No one bought it. Nobody. And I'm feeling all bummed out. I'm thinking, what's wrong? So Joy always says, ask for help. So I asked a few experts who know about marketing and branding, and they looked at, oh, Martin, you got a brilliant program, but you don't have any bait on your hook. When you go to the program, you can't really tell exactly. It's not clear what you do, why you want to be a member. It's really clear. I'm like, aha. If you're going to go fishing, you got to put a bait on there, and you got to put it in the waters of abundance. So guess what happened just yesterday? A wildly exciting lesbian who produces movies online came into my ecosystem, and she is helping us create a movie. She's helping us at a very, she's expensive, but she's being very generous with us, and she is helping us create the bait. And I'm like, that's how the universe, that's what's so exciting about manifesting. It isn't the thing at the end. It's all the wonderful people like you and her that are coming in here to help us create this thing.
Well, it is such a worthy project. And the gift that I'm so touched with, once again, I've heard you speak many, many times, but is your honesty and your willingness to say, well, I had a negative this morning. You're not saying everything is perfect. I just have more money than I know what to do with it. But you do have more ideas.
I'm building this thing on fumes, darling.
And I love you for it. Martin, this has been such a blessing. And I know that on behalf of everyone who's watching all over the world, we're going to be hearing from more people. And I suspect, and I would like to invite you to return to keep updating us and letting people know.
I'm going to take you at your offer, because as soon as we get our new website fixed, our registration, and we get the bait on the hook, I'm going to send it to you, and you can tell the world and help me, because we want to get 1,000 people on our goal is to get 1,000 people by the end of July. And we will save some lives if we do that.
You can do that because they are there. And you are an instrument of the divine. Use any words you want, as I always say.
I like them all. They're all good.
They're all good words. And now another good word. Donnie suggested this for my closing.
I love it. And I love you, darling. And I love all that you're doing. That is beautiful.
All I can say is God bless, happy Pride, and to all of you, thank you for being with us, and remember always, onward in love and caregiving. Namaste. God bless you, Martin. We'll see you real soon.